Yes, yeah. After the intro.
Welcome, everybody, back to the second edition of OPL Recaps Post Show Live. Sergeant Mike Bryan here with our favorite social media buddy,
All right.
Live It PD. Live It.
Now,
What's up, buddy? Where you at?
hey,
Katie, what the heck's going on with Chunky Dunks? What's happening? Can you explain this to me for a second?
that was the comic relief we needed for the week. I mean, that I needed that laugh. I think we all did. It was awesome.
I
The
don't know
whole
what it
place was
is.
great.
Can you give it to me? What can you
Okay,
explain what
so
that
the
is?
nudist colony, it's the Travelist Lodge.
Is that Chunky Dunks? Did I miss
Oh
something?
yeah, yeah. No, it was the whole nudist colony is the Travel Lodge. Yeah, the Travelist Lodge, and they have the we don't skinny dip, we chunky dunk.
So you've been there.
I I had that sign at my pool. I
Oh
mean,
my
it is a
god.
motto.
It's a motto. Oh boy,
Uh-huh.
here
That
we
is my
go.
motto.
That
Yes.
is your motto.
Yes.
Oh Lord, here we go. We're starting it off right. Coming in hot. Before you go anywhere, Katie, I'm going to tell those who are tuning in the chat. Thank y'all for joining us. We saw a show tonight, and it's great. Hey, listen, our show is presented by a couple of our sponsors, Blue Line Smokes. In this family, nobody smokes alone. All your cigar accessories at bluelinesmokes.biz. Check them out. The link will be in the chat at the very end. And Dot One Tactical. What a great company Dot One Tactical is. Got an order coming for Dot One Tactical. You're going to love that stuff. If you're in law enforcement, or if you just want to mess up your ex lover's tires or something like that, Dot One Tactical is the place for you. Check them out. A lot more products coming for that. But before we go any further, Katie, we want to do a little something to remember um, the people that lost their lives this week. We're not a politically driven show. We try to remain right down the middle, but people have lost their lives in school shootings and other gun violence
It was a rough week.
situations this entire week. So, what we want to do is kind of just take a second, hat in hand, and have a moment of silence for those who lost.
Sunglasses.
We pray for those families that were affected by loved ones that they lost this week, both near and far, foreign and abroad. Um, and we just pray that this senseless violence comes to an end in our country. So, with that being said, Katie,
I'll turn you over.
you want to hang out? If you want to hang out, you can, but you got to get
Oh,
another set of
I'll be
headphones.
popping. I'll
Oh,
drive
bunny
by.
ears tonight? We're going to do some more bunny
Yeah.
ears, guys? We think so? All right.
Somebody dared me. I
Pre-
don't remember who, but all right, here
Listen,
you
thank you. Ah, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend. Follow our buddy, livid underscore PD on his social medias, X, formerly known as Twitter, obviously Instagram. We're talking to King Poppycock himself.
Yes,
Livid, how'd you enjoy the show tonight, bud?
definitely more exciting tonight, right off the bat.
Yeah,
Shootings and lights and sirens is a good sign for
yeah,
what's to come. Seemed like it was a theme a little bit tonight. Some chases tonight.
yeah.
I don't know, just much more uplifting for the cop spirit.
Listen, I text you right away. I was excited about tonight's show, and I want to get right I want to get right into it, but before I do, it's really difficult, and I talk about this all the time. I mentioned it last night. I spoke with Chief Taylor yesterday. We FaceTime from the hotel. I knew he was in the Northeast region doing his thing. We had an extensive conversation about what's coming up next, what he's doing, where he's going. Man, his schedule's full. But he didn't mention to me that he was slipping into the studio tonight. He just kind of in passing said that he wasn't far from Jersey, this, that, and the third. That guy's a slick guy there, Livid.
Yeah.
What do you think about that cameo appearance from him, Sergeant Dillion?
I don't know how many people could pull that off. Just walk on in there and take a spot. Like that's like royalty.
Well, like him,
Uh,
Danny Brown, a couple of guys only if they really wanted to, but he's at the top of that food chain for sure.
I think he's got a future after this, right? Like whether his agency stays on the show, he might be able to put a little YouTube channel out.
Yeah, yeah, and that's they were on YouTube before they were ever on the show. In the interview we
Yeah.
did with him, Jimmy and I, a year or so ago, he talked about that's how the show found him. Some of the YouTube videos of them pitting cars and getting out with people. And, one of the main executives saw some of the videos. They reached out to him for some triple play stuff, and the rest is history. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. They could, but what he's doing a lot of right now is traveling the country and speaking to law enforcement in the wellness vein and also kind of in the tactical vein. So he's doing his thing. Him and Tom Rizzo pretty much have partnered up. They're traveling kind of the same circuit. So kudos to those guys, man. It's a quite the benefit financially.
Yeah, he's a good motivational speaker as well. So I think he could probably go speak to anything.
Yeah,
Not even law enforcement,
yeah, no question about it. Kids, colleges, any type of school setting, law enforcement, obviously, even in the professional realm where it comes to corporate, he probably could. Because when you really think about it, and as we get into the show, we'll talk about this a little bit more. It's almost like sports is a microcosm for life in society. And law enforcement is the same thing for, the professional realm. When we're talking about industry, we're talking about private businesses and equity. It's the same thing. You build a team, you have that camaraderie, and you begin to speak from your heart. And guess what? People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. He's the type of guy who's got a big heart. He can put that on display, and I'm proud of what he's doing. I mean, we talk about it. He showed me some of his PowerPoint the other day. Man, he's killing it, and I couldn't be more proud for him.
Yeah, and I think it brings to light, even for me personally, I worked in some pretty big agencies, so I kind of take that for granted. I think everybody has 1,000 cops, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And in some of these little towns that have two, three, four, I don't know, they somehow they seem in the background, right? And then all of a sudden you start seeing some on the show. And I think Chief Armstrong too, kind of like that same situation.
yeah,
It was a pretty
yeah.
small town, I think.
Hmm.
And it's all of a sudden you're like, hey, wait a minute, there's some people out here hustling and doing their thing that we just don't think about. We drive through these towns and we don't ever see a cop necessarily. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like they're out there and they're interesting.
No doubt. No doubt. So before we jump into the show, because some exciting stuff happened tonight. Shout out to the chat. The people for us show up and they show out. And I'm going to tell you something. If you got time, if you can, share it. Let a friend know. Somebody on the West Coast. They're awake. They ain't doing nothing. You know what time it is on the West Coast? It's like 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? Tell your friends, jump in, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the questions you had for us, what we saw in the show, how we experienced it in comparison to how you guys experienced it, and tell a couple of stories about some of the calls that we saw tonight. Because I'm going to tell you right now, some of these calls jogged some memories for me, and I got a story to tell. I'm sure Liv does as well. So shout out to you all in the chat, Laura Shine. Where is Jimmy Jams? Ooh. We were talking about that earlier. There, Livid. Where's Jimmy Jams? Can you say? I can't say. I know where he is. Do you know where he is?
I have an idea where he is. Yeah,
He's, he's probably working. It's probably where he is right now. Who
he's where
knows?
he's grinding.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. But in his place, we have quality talent on the show, whether it be our own Livid PD, or Danny Rebellos from the Everett Police Department. They jump in and they fill the gap very well. So back-to-back shootings to start the show tonight, and we're going to get into what we saw with VCAT. I got some stuff to talk about with that one, guys. We're going to get into some of the triple play and some of the other stuff, some of the other stops we saw tonight that were funny and interesting. But back-to-back shootings to start off basically the show tonight. Clayton County, and obviously down in where was the other one at? Christian County. And the Christian County one was a little bit weird, but something stood out to me tonight, Alan, and you can speak to that a little bit for yourself. We went to this first shooting and we never heard anything else about it. What say ye?
Yeah, it seemed like they left us hanging. You thought maybe they'd switch over, and then once someone got to the scene or once they figured out what happened, they'd switch back.
Yeah,
I don't recall seeing anything
no,
about like, hey, by the way, this was a fake call or nothing,
right.
So I don't know. It seemed like a hot call right off the bat, but
Yeah,
to me, it lasted 1 minute and it was over with, and I was just like, what happened? I'm sure
correct.
everybody else felt the same way.
Correct. And we've seen stuff like this happen before on the show where I'm sure they'll follow up with a first shift update if they can. But whether it be it was a fake call or whether it be the cameras went down, whatever it may be, there was no update. We went to Christian County for that other shooting where, Mama, the dog, ended up being shot, unfortunately, after she got apparently bit by a snake of some sort. But they focused on that one. And if you notice something, I don't know, is that their chief? The guy with the hat, he's mic'd up, and the deputies are speaking to him, telling
He's
them
the
what they got.
sheriff.
He's the
He's the
sheriff.
actual
Okay.
literal sheriff. Yeah.
Okay. So he's following them around to these calls, apparently, huh?
That's I was telling Katie this last night. I'll be honest with you. The thing that the show portrays, where it looks like the chief of police himself, or the sheriff, or captains and lieutenants are out shagging calls, and
Hmm.
that's just in real life. That's not happening. That is not happening. I've
But
never
this
seen
is
a
real
captain.
life.
Well, it's real life, but they are cherry picking who they want to go, and I have never seen a captain or a lieutenant ever take a paper on a call,
Hmm.
um,
Well, not
or
paper,
just
but they've gone to calls, right?
well, even doing traffic stops at the gas station. None of my captains and lieutenants ever did it. I'll be honest with you. A captain
Okay.
never left the office. Um, they there's no way, man. I've worked for a few different places, and I've seen how the command structure works.
Yeah.
And if it's Sunday, the sergeant ain't even coming out because he's watching football.
And
Sorry.
there it is. There it is. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chiefs and the captains that are out there doing some real police work, whether it be for the live night solely or for sanity's sake to get out of the office. We read this book called Lincoln on Leadership in our department, and when you want to aspire to be greater in the agency and promote, and it talks about coming out of the ivory tower, and that's what a lot of our guys do. Sometimes it'll be 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and our captain just pop on the radio, patrol captain will pop on the radio. Hey, somebody go to this call for me, handle this. Hey, he'll pop in if there's a priority call. You know what I mean? And it happens. I'm not saying that, I can't speak for every agency, but I can speak for Daytona.
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Richie Marr is a worker bee. He can't sit still. So he's constantly going to calls, working with his people, boots on the ground, and I can tell you right now, speaking to Danny Brown's people, he's the exact same way. He hates being in the office. He hates the meetings.
Yeah.
He hates, and I'm not saying that he doesn't like his job. What I'm saying is he's boots on the ground, man. And that really, and you can speak to this, it inspires newcomers into the agency, the troops. Hey, I can't be lazy. We got a 25-year guy out here shagging calls, doing traffic stops, getting out with dealers and stuff like that. Who am I to sit under a shade tree and do absolutely nothing for our community, right? And that's what the people want to see. And I think for the most part, you could say that that's what kind of officers want to see as well, right?
I mean, I completely agree with you. It's just, to me, it's just very unusual. Like when you call someone command staff, literal, that word,
Yeah.
uh, and you see these guys out here patting people down at the quick check
Yeah.
on Saturday night. Um, it's
It's
real
rare.
salt of the earth stuff, is what it.
No
You know
question.
what I mean? Like if they're not being made to do it, I'm telling you, it's real salt of the earth
No
because
question.
uh, it's. I don't know. I just was on. It's sort of like a military rank type of thing. Just our lieutenant stayed at the station just in case anything happened in our area. You know what I mean? He was
Right.
the one that everybody has to go up the chain to. Because there's no
Right.
captains working at 12 o'clock at night on a Saturday, not anywhere I worked. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
maybe one for 4 districts. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
It,
Yeah,
yeah.
the only captain that's putting in work at 2, 3 in the morning is Captain Crunch after the club lets out. The burger joints closed or too busy, right?
I'm just saying there's got to be some benefit to being a captain, and I would hope getting Saturday night off would be one. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You're right, right. Yeah, because those guys are normally like at will employees, they're salaried, and they're out here, if they're out here, busting shops, it's something special. Put it on the poll though before we go anywhere where else. Is the only captain that's putting in work Captain Crunch at 2 in the morning is Captain Crunch at OPL recaps. So I agree with you, man. I completely agree with you. You don't see a lot of that outside the rare breed that are out for priority calls, big events like big event towns and cities like Daytona, Orlando, things of that nature, Jacksonville. Those guys are sometimes out because they want to show that, hey, we're here with you. If you're sacrificing, we're going to sacrifice. Smaller agencies, I guess they got to work sometime, like Chief Taylor.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's not much you can do about that.
yeah. I just it just would be an unusual but very good for morale thing to look over and see a captain sweating in the middle of an intersection when you're directing traffic in a hurricane. I'm just saying. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. So you haven't seen it, or have you?
I I haven't seen it in any intersection I was standing in for 5 hours at a time. Maybe they were at another intersection. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt at some point. So these shooting calls didn't work out so well. Thank God. We'll find out Friday what happened with that one from Clayton County. But one of the bigger calls that happened tonight, that there was a lot of meat on that bone, happened in Richland County with the nudist trailer park colony tent city situation. Livid. I'm just gonna take a step back and think about this for a second. What was happening there? Can you explain to the people?
I don't even know. That was weird. Um, and it's one of those calls you go to where it just sounds like it's just for sure going to be a crime. And then once you start talking and start unweaving the web, it
Mm-hmm.
just sounds like a literal mess, but not much you can do about.
Right.
Um, Especially, I'm not gonna say that. Like if somebody came out the day before for a call and you go back out the next day for that same thing, because the
Mm-hmm.
lady did bring it up. Hey, she burned the clothes, but it was yesterday and we called the cops yesterday. They didn't do nothing. I
Right.
don't know what kind of position that puts you in or not. You know what I mean? If I
Yeah. Tough
decide it's a
spot.
crime, I might do something about it anyway. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you can only recycle that crime so many times. You know what I mean?
What was the
Um,
actual crime though? Because she's saying the lady threatened to burn the place down, right? But we
yeah,
talked
I
about
was
this
just saying.
last night.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
talked
I
about
was
ag
just saying the
assault versus
clothes.
aggravated battery, right?
She said that she literally burned clothes. I mean, you might be able to reach in there and find some, not arson or anything, but just a destruction of someone's clothes, maybe. But the threat of burning the house down, man, I mean, you'd have, like I said last night, you have to, it's what you can prove. It's not what you know.
Right. Right.
And I don't think I could prove that she was going to set the house on fire, unfortunately.
Yeah, not with what they gave us. So there was signs everywhere. There was all kind of invitations for the sheriff and his deputies to come by, and I don't know what kind of pool situation we are talking about for the skinny dipping and what have you. I kind of wish they would have showed us if it was one of those above ground, half in ground pools, a kiddie pool. Was it? I don't know what it was, but was it a hot tub? I want to know what was going on. That's just me personally. I can't speak for anybody else.
How many tents do you think they have out there in that little community?
Oh my God, dude.
Hey, we had a nudist colony over in Pinellas County, but it wasn't in my zone, thank God. I don't know what kind of calls they would get out there, but I can tell you it's mostly senior citizens in these nudist colonies around here.
Yeah.
It's not what you picture.
No, of course not. How far are you from the villages?
Probably 3 hours. I don't know, maybe more. I'm not sure. Not sure right where that is.
It's over.
I have heard.
I think it's just south or whatever of Lake County. But yeah, if you're not familiar with the villages, if you don't live in Florida, you're not familiar with the villages, just look up the villages in Central Florida, okay? And you'll learn a lot. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I do want to Live It knows what's going on in the villages.
It's an adult party.
It's an adult party. It's like a cruise on land, and anything goes, pretty much, like one of the STE capital communities of Florida. Anyway, neither here nor there.
By moving there, you're signing the contract, basically. I mean,
it's an unspoken rule that you must participate in antics. I'm not going to go. This is a family show. I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. You know, we're Christian men here. But I do want to answer some questions that we got from the actual post tonight. Missing your guys' interviews with our favorite LEOs. When are they coming back? Well, that's a great question. We do have a couple of, I had a great interview lined up. It's going to be in person. And somebody's family members got terminally ill, and they had to cancel what we were going to do this month. We do have a bunch of people we're going to be talking to next month. We had to take some time off, Live It, as you know, because of some personal things that are going on, some moves that were made, some career choices that were made. And we just took a step back and kind of reimagined what OPL Recaps was. But I rest assured, we are here for the people. This is the People's Podcast, and it is not going anywhere. But for us to get bigger and better and stronger, we need your input. We need your support. We need your friends, your families, the eyes of the studio, even, which we kind of have. So some interviews are coming, and I think Live It will be a part of some of these interviews going forward. How you feel about that, bud?
Hey, I'm going to come around when you need me. Just give me a call, give me a text.
That's my guy. That's my guy. Okay, well, we'll make something like that happen. All right. Christy asks, hey, Christy. Shout out to you and Sean Patrol Live. So the question from Christy in Colorado, I believe in Colorado, right, Christy? How would y'all have handled the older lady wrapped in whatever that was at the nudist camp in Richland County tonight? So what was she wrapped in? Was it a shower curtain? What was that she was wrapped in, guys? Somebody tell us in the chat what she was wrapped in.
Seemed like one of those towel wrap type of, where it doesn't really connect, but you can kind of fasten it a little.
So like,
sure.
I don't know what it was, but it was kind of coming off, and Sergeant Hughes had to kind of nudge her to cover herself. I understand being a nudist and all that stuff, but yeah, she didn't ask anything about the cameras, like most people ask, like, what are the cameras for? The old documentary line.
She was
So
comfortable being nude. She didn't care, honestly. Like you could tell. You know what I mean? It just didn't bother her.
yeah, yeah, she's definitely comfortable with her all of her undesirables being shown on
Yeah, and
television.
the funny thing is that towel dropped 12 inches before anything started showing.
Oh, come on,
You
You're out of control, guy.
know what I'm saying? It's just it's
Oh, you're out of control. But Christy, to answer your question, I'll tell you, we've had situations like this where people are scantily clad, and they're not fully dressed. They may be under the influence of something, so their composure's not really there. Their mental state is altered. And what the easiest thing to do when you're dealing with somebody like that, you guys seen me do this, and you haven't seen Livet do it, but I'm sure he's done it in his profession, his long profession, is you got to kind of lower the temperature, right? And you got to make sure that you're looking them in the eye, you're watching their body language, assessing if something else is wrong. If they're under the influence of something, what can we do to help them out, right? Their clothes are coming off. You have to address the fact that, hey, listen, I want to help you out, right? And I'm sure you want my help, but help me help you. Okay, let's cover you up. Let's make sure maybe you sit down, put a blanket on, and let's get to the brass tacks of what's going on here. And if I can help you, I will. But I need you to do this for me first, so that I can focus on the issue at hand, right? And then move forward from there. So a lot of times you could turn into a funny situation or a joke or something like that, and that's cool too. But the reality of it is, you want to be as professional as possible. Our motto at the Daytona Beach Police Department from our chief is professional public servants. We're not going to make fun of people who, or degrade people. We're gonna make sure even the least in our society, well, some consider the least in our society, are given professional service from our law enforcement. What else? What am I missing here, Livid?
I kind of equated that woman to the guy with the mud on, honestly. Like if you had gotten a call on him, and he wasn't scamming anybody, his behavior in and of itself was kind of weird. So it's
Yeah.
kind of, to me, I'd handled exactly the same way as that. It's just like find out what's happening upstairs first. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, do it in a comfortable environment. You don't want to sit there and you know,
Of course. Of course.
especially with a TV camera behind you. I don't know what that's like, but
Yeah.
you have a camera on your chest too. So everything that they wanted, I've had people open the door completely naked before, women.
Yes. And men.
That's not unusual. Yeah, it's not
No.
unusual at all.
Nope.
And it's it has to be on purpose because they called you and it took you 12 minutes to get there, and they're still nude.
They remain
So
nude. Yes.
they're like, someone popped the tires on my car, and it's like, why are you nude? Like,
Then they take all your clothes as well. Is there a theft involved?
yeah, that happens more than people think. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah. They just want to be seen. It's a cry out for help, if you will. And some people get off on that type of thing. Hey, neither here nor there. That's not my, cup of tea. I'm a little more reserved and, you know, resolute, but whatever.
I tell you what, when you're a man and you're younger, you will. These things are goofy, right? But when you start having daughters, I have two daughters. It
Yeah.
kind of changes your temperament to some of these things because the only thing that crosses my mind is somebody's daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
Right.
that takes the whole giddy and silliness of it is gone. At that point, it's just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. We got a bunch more questions and a couple of more calls to get to from tonight. A night that was full of surprises. We do have another surprise for you folks. If you follow along on X, formerly known as Twitter, you know that there is a page on that site from a gentleman that calls himself Unofficial On Patrol Live. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of the Florida chat, if you will. He's local, and he took a little bit of time for himself recently, but he's back. So I've noticed his hosts are picking back up again. He's been invited before to join us on the show. We may have one more surprise other than this, but just for a second, we're going to let our friend in, Eric, from Deland. So, Eric, can you hear us? Are you there, buddy? What's going on?
There we go, man.
There he is. What's up, my friend?
What's going on? It's been a little bit.
It has been a little bit. How are you?
Been doing good. Just, working hard.
Well, yeah, I can tell because you've been gone for weeks on end, and I was getting concerned. I was getting ready to do a bolo and have the sheriff's office come out to where you are, because I can find you, bro, and make sure you're good. Do a well-being check. Talk to us. What's going on?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, just been working. I want to say May. The end of May was the last time I've been on.
Yeah.
And anytime I wanted to come on a Friday or Saturday night to chat with everybody, because that's what I love to do. I love to chat and horse around and have fun on X with everybody. Just the time wouldn't match up. I wouldn't get home in time, and so just working hard, doing what I have to do.
Yeah, I know you switched careers or your job, right? I mean, we talked about that several months ago.
Yeah, it's been when it comes down to that, I did long term in the auto industry.
Yep.
In this past year, it's been really rough. Auto industry, it just hasn't been the love like it used to always be. So I just been making things happen to keep things going. Gotta take care of the family. That's what matters most.
No question about that. I know I can't speak for everybody, but I know I can speak for a lot of people when we say it's really nice to see you. Nice to know that you're healthy and you're good. You didn't forsake the On Patrol Live community, because we need faces like you. We need humor like yours. I mean, your gifts, between your gifts and Livid's memes and stuff like that from Richland, it just makes the show that much better on a Friday and Saturday night.
It does. It truly does. Ever since I started watching the original show that we don't name the name of, was watching the show was good, but being 3 hours, it was like watching a long movie. And sometimes when there's that downtime, you're like, I don't think I want to watch it anymore. And an hour and a half into it, you're logging off. And then so once I joined on the Twitter, then I was like, man, this is fun. This is really exciting. So definitely when the show came back on and DNA was made to happen, I had to jump right on board and be like, this is it. I'm doing 100% on being involved into it. And so that's what I do. It makes it fun, because when there is that downtime, when there aren't those exciting calls, the shootings, or a crazy chase at Daytona, or anything going on like that, it's, we keep it going.
Right.
And so even throughout the week, everybody that loves to watch the show keeps it going. So I'm back involved after a few months off. I'm back.
I got you. We're really happy to have you. Do you work in the morning, or you got a little bit of time to hang out for a couple of these questions from the fans?
No, I do not work tomorrow morning.
Lucky you. All right, so here's a question, and I don't know what this means. Livid, maybe you can help me out from the Noog, from Michael Hole 9628 on Twitter. He said, "What are those leftover dinner-looking containers usually on the deck lid? The license plate readers or Wi-Fi? Does anybody know what he's talking? I think I have an idea."
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you know what he's talking about?
It's the audio and the video units. Is that what he's talking about? That they set up the patrol cars to do the show? Or he's talking about something else? I mean, that's what I see, that the units around here, when they're being filmed, have them.
Yeah, our units over in Pinellas, even filmed, talking 15, 20 years ago, those big bumps that you see on the rear of the car, facing both those were tag readers for us.
Okay.
Like say if you're going down the aisle of a supermarket and there's cars parked on both sides of you, it reads both sides of you at the same time. So you could run 100 tags in 35 seconds. Now on the show, I don't know exactly what they're talking about, but what I've seen on the show, it is tag readers. Sometimes it'd be like one of those LoJack systems back in the day, if you remember what that was, where you could track cars that were stolen.
Right.
Sometimes you'd see a big unit on top of the car for that too, because you got to. It's an active radar. You know what I mean? You got to keep pinging it.
Yeah.
But I would say it's tag readers. What I noticed tonight anyway.
Right.
So you get warrants.
Yeah, it gives you warrants, sanctioned drivers, those tag readers, but it could be any of those three things: LoJack, tag readers. But in the course of the show, Eric's absolutely right. Some agencies, especially in the county areas where it's more rural, you'll see that box type thing on the roof or on the trunk lid, and it's a really strong magnet underneath it, keeping it connected to the vehicle. In cities like Daytona, where there's a lot more towers, radio towers, and cell phone towers, those can be inside the vehicle. And inside the vehicle, they're a little bit more safe. Of course, they're waterproof, the box are waterproof and all that, but you don't want any damage coming to those things. Very expensive modules for the vehicle. So that's what those are, the Noog. And those things are very, very, very pricey. I do have just a peek behind the curtain for both of you guys as well. A vlog situation I have set up for a live night where I'm there when they're setting up the vehicles, wiring them up, putting the cameras up, testing everything, and those modules that he's talking about are part of that vlog. So I gotta finish filming it and do some editing and some dubbing with the audio, and then that'll be released here eventually. I got a lot of stuff on my plate, man. I can't outsource it to all the people I used to outsource it to anymore because a lot of them moved away. But I'm getting better at it. So hey, if I can do it, knock it out myself, right?
Nice.
Yo, Eric, you saw the show tonight. You were wide awake for it. I got to ask you about this. Where do they put the vegetable oil in that van in that parking lot of Knox County? Where'd it go?
I honestly, I think I missed that part. I think because oh man, it was great to jump back on.
Yeah.
And people just reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, I'm glad you're back." You know, and then people were sending the DM messages, and I was responding back to them too about other stuff to keep things going. So I was back, and I tried to watch as much of the show as I can, but at the same time, me being gone for the last few months, there was a lot of catching up. You know, I had to catch up with a lot of people again, and it's good to know that so many people care. So I did miss the vegetable oil thing, and
well, I'm pretty sure it was like power steering or something like. He didn't put it like, as engine oil or fuel. It's not like what's Doc's name from Back to the Future?
Dr. Emmett Brown.
Yeah, Marty and Doc. It's not like that. They're not putting it in the flux capacitor for the DeLorean, taking off the
yeah
2012 or whatever. So yeah, good times. Good times. But yeah, the vegetable oil trick was something. I'm gonna watch that back because I want to know what's going on with that VeggieTale. Any more? Let me see. There were some more questions. Eric, what do you got for? Tell me something good. What do you got going on? What's coming up next? Are you going to be around in October for a possible meet and greet?
Yes, I will be around in October. That was one of the things I was having to chat on a DM. So Wendy reached out to me on some stuff, so I was having to respond back to her, and get fully back into the swing of game. It was just coming in on Saturday. I wish I could have jumped on yesterday, giving me an extra day to kind of swing back into it. But
yeah,
I'll be highly involved and looking to get out and about again. And be honest with you, I'm kind of hoping to see my locals out to join back on the show. But I like to see Volusia County back on again and teaming back up with
Yeah,
on the
I got
streets.
I got a
It's
feeling.
exciting because I
I
see
got,
them.
I got a feeling you might be seeing them here. If only for a special event coming up here next month. But I'm not breaking any news. I'm just telling you that you may.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of stuff that happens in Daytona, and they need a lot of backup, and
yes,
that's what Volusia does. They
yes.
cover a lot of ground.
The last time they were on the show, I'm telling you, man, they were absolutely crushing it. Remember the guy thrown from the little 3-wheel thing? The guy's leg like crushed. That was one of the craziest nights I've ever seen in Daytona. And Volusia County was there to help us out and back us up. So we love our brothers in green. They help us out tremendously. There was a question that popped up, and I saw some banter back and forth about it on one of the OPO pages on Facebook. It was talking about the DUI arrest from last night that happened in, it might have been Knox. I'm not sure where it happened at. And they were saying that this guy was not intoxicated because he passed the field sobriety. But what I later found out, what we later found out is when he got him back to the station, the guy blew a .114. Livid, have you ever ran into a situation where somebody didn't really smell of alcohol, or they could partially pass the field sobriety exercises? However, they refused to blow, or when they did blow, they failed that portion of the exercises.
Uh,
And what could it
I
be if that has happened?
I can tell you one thing quickly before I say that. A lot of times, you'll mistake someone who's going into diabetic shock as being a DUI. I've seen cars that were crashed into houses, and people were immediately like, "Hey, he's drunk," because they're mumbling. Their breath has this sweet smell to it.
Mhm.
Diabetic shock is very, very close to DUI. If you've never seen it, you wouldn't know the difference, but it's close. Like if you didn't know what you were doing, you could arrest somebody who's having shock. You know what I mean? I can't. Most of the people I've ever seen and arrested, one guy on a moped once, they were just hammered. Like they couldn't stand up. They couldn't, because if you're slurring your words, walking a line is like, just a small part. But some people are very functional drunks. Some people could could take a route that's 50 miles home and make it safely home because they know that this is left, this is right, this is a stop, and they're just programmed. You can program yourself to drive half asleep. I've seen that before. but um, but
Wait a second.
usually
How do you
you're
do that?
I've seen it. When I worked day shift, when I was young, I was half asleep shifting gears in a Jeep with the top off. I don't know how I got to work. You know what I mean? Um, but
Stop
I've
it.
seen very functional drunks before. I have seen that, and they could, speak well, walk well, even drive pretty good. You catch them doing like silly things that people do when they're looking at a cell phone, like crossing the lane. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Right.
But I had a woman one time hit a guy on a motorcycle at a stoplight, and there was this mob gathering around. Like I pulled up right behind her, and I didn't even know this had just happened. So it was just like happenstance. I didn't get dispatched, and this lady gets out of her car and she stumbles into my arms, and you know what she says? "I'm too drunk to walk." And I literally catch her, and she falls into my arms, and she's got the big. She drinks vodka, and I mean, this lady was like 80, and
Mm,
that was just like spontaneous utterance.
Wow.
I didn't ask her, "Hey, have you been drinking?" She volunteered that information.
wow. That is that that is something. But before we go any further, Eric, I want to get your viewpoint on this and the chat. But before we go any further,
Yeah.
I just want to put it on the poll at OPO recaps. Without a Tesla, could you program yourself to drive home subconsciously if you're hammered? Um, so I'm thinking that narcotics, some form of narcotics, you can't smell alcohol on them. Obviously, Eric's right when he's talking about the portion of society that has diabetes. But any experience with anything like that you've seen, Eric, even on the show or anything like that?
No, I was going to bring that up. Is mixing drugs, medication, with alcohol can definitely throw everything off. But there is, just like Alan said, there is definitely some basically professional drunks. That's what they do. They're highly function. They drink all the time, and it's almost some people you can almost be more concerning if they are sober. It's like, hey, are you okay? Like, because that's a state that they're always in. So there's some people I guarantee that can pass and probably not really, take some good paying attention and seeing the little signs that they're actually drunk and get them to blow like what happened.
Or under the influence of anything. Because when we're talking about DUI, we're also talking about DWI. We're also talking about having a drug recognition expert who's trained. But the signs are the same in their driving pattern, right? They're crossing over lines, they're swerving, they're driving too slow. They talked about it a little bit with Chief Taylor and Sergeant Dillion in studio, right? Bright lights hit them and they brake or they swerve a little bit, trying to get out of the light. They're stuck at a red light, right, with the car and drive, and they're asleep. Things that are at a green light, they're sitting there. I'm sorry. So these signs, these patterns are all the same, right? And as law enforcement, we can see those things, even though we don't smell it, or they can pass the field sobriety. You have a duty to make sure these people don't get behind the wheel. And if you take up into custody, you have probable cause to do that, and they blow, or a drug recognition expert pops up and they say, oh yeah, this is opiates, or this is barbiturates. Next thing you know, you have a stronger case other than DUI. So I just thought that was interesting that people were arguing that this guy was not under the influence of something, and he blew a 1.114, which is a crazy number.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Mike, that the words influence and the words impaired are not alcohol specific. You know what I mean? Those two words are included in there so that it could be just a vast number of things. You could eat mushrooms.
Great call. You're absolutely right. Well, the intoxicant type mushrooms. I mean, not the ones from Publix.
Right.
Don't be afraid, guys. Just eat away at your mushrooms.
When you see mushrooms on this show, it's the kind I'm talking about. When you see them on this show,
it's the same mushrooms that Super Mario and Luigi were eating there. You know what I'm saying? There's no way those guys are running that fast, so jumping over bricks that big on regular mushrooms, those things are wild.
Hey, just saying.
Oh man, you guys are out of control. Shout out to the chat, man. You guys are awesome. You're chiming in, you're asking questions. Wendy, hey, look at that. We got some people in the chat, man. I haven't seen a little bit of time, so welcome back. We're gonna try to do this, Eric, and me and Livet are talking about it as often as we can on the weekends. I do work day shift now, so I'm off this weekend, but I work next week. It's every other weekend thing. So I don't know if I can stay up to 1 o'clock in the morning if I got to be there at 5 the next day. However, I love OP Nation. I love the community. I love the engagement. And I believe that if we get a strong enough following, this will be something that I can sacrifice and do. What say ye, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to sacrifice for the people, right? It's the people's podcast. It's what they're here for. And staying up to chat with everybody is always worth it. You got people to go off of. It's definitely worth the investment of time.
No question about it. We'll see what happens. There was a felony stop in Richland tonight, guys, and we're going to talk about a couple more calls before we call it a night. But there was a major felony stop in Richland, and I'm going to tell you guys something. You'll let you guys chime in here. But I was doubting that that was the right vehicle for a minute, and there's a couple of reasons that I'll talk about. But what do you guys think about that traffic stop, Eric? Eric, you've seen these all over the show for years.
Yep.
Even the old show, live it. You've done felony stops. What stood out to you, Live it, about that stop tonight?
It seemed like one of those things where the people inside the car, just from the outward, that like they didn't know quite what to do. It didn't seem like they wanted to run, but it didn't seem like they knew what to do. So the language barrier thing's not that much of a surprise, honestly. Like I would be willing to bet those guys were from somewhere in South
Yep.
America, like El Salvador or somewhere like that, if I had to guess. And I don't know that they knew what to do. And I'm not saying they were involved in a shooting. I'm just saying that the actual stop itself, because when you're stopping a car, you don't know if it's gangsters or if it's an old lady. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I had my suspicions, like you, that it might not be them when they were going real slow and then they just stopped in the middle of the road. I had my suspicions that it was just someone that was confused. You just see the weirdest things sometimes,
Yeah.
and it didn't seem like there was any urgency. The bad guys, you know what I mean? They didn't seem like hopped up. Like I just ran from the cops. You know what I mean? The guy that Daytona caught and had on the ground, he's excited delirium. Like he's boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Those guys were like, "Why are you pulling us over?" Almost looked like to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No
I just
idea
found
what's
it to be very subdued for a felony traffic stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Eric, what about you?
Yeah, it almost seemed confusing. On that part, it seemed confusing. The driver jumped right out, so he knew when he saw the lights to get out,
Mm-hmm.
but without anybody else coming out, and it kind of just like paused. It was like or what are they doing? I thought they're going to find a lot more stuff inside the truck too.
Right.
Once they found the two guns, that happened really quick. I
Mhm.
thought when they opened up the back door, it was going to be like, oh, here's all types of goodies back there.
Right.
But it wasn't. But yeah, no, it seemed it was a very odd stop.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they got the right truck, obviously, or at least they got something that they should have been getting off the street.
Correct. Chat, tell us if we're wrong. I mean, was that stop a little odd? Because again, we've seen felony stops for years. I forgot about more felony stops than I've done, and I can tell you right now, I'm looking at this felony stop, and there's a couple things are popping out there. The truck has a bed full of machinery, tools.
He was definitely a working guy. Yep.
Right. So my first mind was, okay, either this is the wrong vehicle or these are working men, which would let me know possibly that they may be of a Hispanic descent, right? Because that's kind of how it goes. There's dark tint on that vehicle. The only way they knew there was a passenger in there is because the driver told them the guy's name who was in the vehicle, right? So now they're trying to call him out, and there's absolutely zero compliance at all from that vehicle. So hairs on the back of my neck, just like those deputies at that time are standing up. We're thinking to ourselves, this is gonna go really bad, guys. And you see Tom talked about it, and what you don't see is when they're in studio watching this, and I'll let you guys in behind the curtain, they'll mute the mics and they'll be talking about what they're watching, right? And if you say something that the studio says, oh, that's great, bring that up. We're going to unmute your mic. Then Dan sets up Tom to talk about it. He says, we're talking about this. Captain Rizzo, what's going on in that felony stop? We already know what's going on. We talked about it already, but we're going to regurgitate it for the audience, right? They're standing at the back of their car for more cover and concealment because it's going bad. This traffic stop, this felony stop is not going good at this time, guys. And I'm telling you right now, the dog's even in the back of this truck. The dog ain't at the front. Usually the dog's at the front. They're saying, wait a second, I don't like this. Let me keep my dog back here because I don't want to get my dog shot. We know in their mind there's guns in this car. Okay. They're like, and if this guy isn't compliant, if he's got a switch on the Glock, he can shoot 6 cops in 3 seconds with one pull of the trigger, right? So they're trying to create as much distance as they can. So what tools can we use if we're not getting compliance? What we have to do as law enforcement, you guys have seen this on the show, we have to slow everything down. There is no rush at this time. The driver is out. Hopefully the car is off. If it isn't, best case scenario, the guy gives up. Worst case scenario, he jumps in the driver's seat, which I've had happen to me, and he takes off, right? But now we at least know that this is the right vehicle. They weren't sure at that time. They thought they had the right vehicle. But if he sits there and we get zero compliance, we got tools, Livid. We got our shields. We got rolling barricades with vehicles. We can call a drone in. We can call a robot if we need to. Everything slows down because it's all about preservation of human life. We don't want ourselves to get hurt.
Right.
He can get hurt in there. He can hurt himself. We take all day and let that happen. But that traffic stop, I'm watching it in my living room, and I'm like, oh no, oh no, 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 oh no. So we never rush. That's why window 10 is such a dangerous thing for us. And we use all the tools at our resource to make all the resources, so we can get into the vehicle, calm a situation down, and bring a perpetrator into custody without anybody getting hurt.
The odd thing was when he did get out, he didn't seem, you know what I mean? He wasn't upset. He wasn't like, you got me. He just looked like, what's going on, you know?
I thought he was going to jump in the driver's seat when he walked around the back of the truck. But first of all, he got out of the truck, Eric. Then he got back in it, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
He comes out with a cell phone in his hand. I'm like, oh, no, you're about to get shot over a cell phone guy. We can give you your cell phone and we'll take it to jail with you. But don't go back in the car. Folks in the chat, tell your friends and your family, if there's a felony stop happening, once you get out of that car, get out of the car with nothing in your hands, first of all. Once you get out, don't dive back in, please. Whatever you do, ask any cop you know. They'll tell you, don't dive back in that car. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yep. And it really throws in a different perspective since, you know, Mike, you're actively in the force. Alan's done the force. Livid's done the force. You know, and then I'm an outsider on it who's always liked it, but I've never done it. So I've never been in the actual scenarios. So watching the show, I know it's completely different because you're pulling out things that you've experienced and things that, you know, memories, you know, it might even trigger a memory of like, oh man, I remember that call, something like this, where we're watching it more of an entertainment side of a factor. When we watch the show, it's like, you know, and there is some, you know, when it comes to like anything with guns and related with that, you know, watching the show kind of backs up on that. But the rest of the stuff, you know, when they're going to calls and like the lady at the hotel, you know, and she's all hyped up and excited. For us as the viewer, we're just watching it as an entertainment show at that point. We're like, okay, she's going crazy. She needs to calm down, but like she's, you know, really hyper and really excited. Where you guys have been there and you're like, you definitely see it different than what we do as a viewer.
Right. Yeah, no question about that. No question about that.
No, we're just analyzing it. Like, you know, like that was very like our stop stick thing last night. It was so well done that when you see it happen like that, you know, it just doesn't happen that often. You're just like, wow, that was amazing.
Applause. Yep. It so much has to come together for law enforcement work to go right. Chief among them is compliance from the people we're dealing with, and everything falls into place after that. We're getting a little long in the tooth here, guys. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, East Coast, which some consider God's time zone. But I'll tell you what, our friends over in Cali and in the Midwest, we're here for you guys. A couple more things. We got to talk about Daytona, don't we? We have to at least talk about Daytona just a little bit, guys. Is that fair? I mean, was there a NOAA sighting tonight? I don't know. Was there one?
Laura would be able to tell you. She's in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where's the girls lighting up on the chat on that one?
Allie, Laura.
He
Yeah.
got his cameo in.
We got
Yeah,
him both nights, didn't we? We got him both nights.
I think so. He was walking around with some stop sticks tonight. I can tell you.
Remember last night it was the Kentucky waterfall. Remember
The
that
Kentucky
was
waterfall last night. That's correct.
yeah.
With those lows, that hair flowing out the back of that hat. But tonight,
So
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, speaking of Daytona,
Mhm.
that guy got really lucky in front of Silhouettes. Got pulled over. I thought there was going to be something really good in that truck, and that there's going to be a really good find. Doing 72 on International is crazy. So you either don't live in Daytona and don't understand you don't do this type of speeds because you guys are always on that road, or they were distracted with something else. And I felt like something was going to be a really good find in that truck, and he got really lucky tonight. That guy did.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I was surprised as well. But yeah, that fleeing driver happened right at the right time. He got away with some would say murder. I will say this about that stop. Again, that stop, the fleeing driver started way east of Nova Road. And you know where Sergeant Marr was. He was Silhouettes, which is out by the flea market, Tomoka Farms Road. So you know what I'm talking about, Eric. But a lot of people who live in Daytona don't know that that's like miles apart. And he even said it on the show. He's like, I'm a little further than I thought I was, right? But in typical Daytona fashion, the guy decided to keep running. And I'm going to tell you something. This guy, I'm familiar with this guy. He's not what you would call a salt of the earth. I mean, he's got an extensive record. And I'll say this, I don't want to get into details, but his father does as well. So he's junior. He's deep in it. You know, a lot of probation, prison time, fleeing and eluding, felony, firearms charges, narcotics, things of that nature. He's been around the block once or twice. If you just search the Volusia mug, you'll see his face on there, and you type his name in, and you'll see the dozen or more arrests that he's had. So, you know, he's a familiar guy. And I'll say this, a lot of people don't know this concerning VCAT. I try to slip nuggets in for you guys. I'm still trying to get some people from VCAT to get on the show. Those guys are extremely private, guys and girls. However, VCAT targets these guys who will flee. They're a violent criminal apprehension team. They're looking for the worst of the worst. So they're doing their research. They know where to go. They know where to sit. They know what to look for. We got tag readers all over the city. We got all kinds of technology. So it's not a coincidence that people always flee from them. I mean, I can do 50 stops and I won't get a fleeing vehicle. They'll do 5 straight and they'll all flee. They're targeting. It's a target-rich environment. You know what I'm saying, Eric?
Definitely. You know, watching the show, it's something that I've definitely picked up on, because when they're following somebody from VCAT and they pull over somebody, if it's not something that they're interested in, they want to walk away. They want to be done with that stop because they're looking for something important. They're not looking for silliness. It's somebody else's job to handle those guys.
You probably heard this terminology before, Livid, and it's called accuracy by saturation. So you saturate an area, you're bound to get something, right? So we're not looking for, like, we don't do any bias-based policing. We just get into an area, we know kind of who we're looking for, and then we can do our thing from there. So that was go ahead.
Remember the VCAT caught the guy earlier too in the daylight, the flashback clip. They were staked out that neighborhood, and they said he's trying to run in the house. Remember that one? Yeah. So that was the same thing. They were on him like nobody's business. Like 5 cars were just right on him.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes. They set up all their stuff. If you notice, they'll have stop sticks, multiple stop sticks, and then multiple hits, because they're always wolf packing in an area. And people know when they're working. And people who don't know ain't been around. And that's what they'll say, welcome to Daytona, because you don't know not to flee. Just pull over and take the ride, right? There's one or two less felonies if you don't flee. But I want to talk about this. He fled onto a college campus. He drove across the grass and fled into Embry-Riddle's campus. That's where he was when they caught him, Eric. It's like,
yep.
You don't know not to flee onto Embry-Riddle, a college campus? Come on, man. That's the worst place to go. You had to find an apartment complex or something like that, but not. It's all lit. There are cameras everywhere. They got armed security. It's an open parking lot. It don't get much work. He might as well fled at Buc-ee's. I mean, come on. What we doing, bro? Where you gonna go? It don't make sense.
Yeah. That's I broke my finger. I told Katie when I saw those cops running across that empty parking lot, I actually broke this finger doing that. Because back then we had those big D-cell mag lights. You know what I'm talking about. They're 15 inches long, like, even fit in a screen. But they had like 4 or 5 D batteries. And I started to fall, and I took the flashlight and hit the ground with it, so I wouldn't, I kind of stumbled, and the flashlight broke my finger. So I just kept running at the time because the adrenaline didn't matter. But when I got back, my finger was just, the tendons were gone, so it was just flopping like this. I had to rehab it for like 4 months. But that running across that empty parking lot just reminded me of just hitting that gravel just right, and I just tripped. I just stumbled enough that you know what I mean, and broken finger. I don't know. Gave me a flashback, Mike.
My bad.
See, it's those flashbacks that you guys get when you watch the show, but you don't get.
I love it, man. And then we can talk about it here for the fans. Hey, are you guys familiar with the stop Chris Barr that went viral? The stop sign, the drunk guy.
I'm not sure.
He stopped this guy. He stopped this guy. He did the stop the night where he was at the gas station. There was a Sunoco gas station. It was right off Nova Road. But he stopped this guy several shows ago. And when he stopped the guy was drunk. And he walks up to the car and the guy said, "Man, why are you stopping me, man?" And then he says, "I'm going to tell you right now." And the guy says, "Stop sign." And so this stop is viral. Like it's something called a stop sign challenge. So people are voicing over. In fact, Curtis sent me a clip of an animated version of that traffic stop. Anyway, it's awesome. You guys got to look it up. Just look up stop sign viral stop on YouTube or whatever after we do this. But it reminded me of it because Chris did the stop where the people crashed in the parking lot. That was right there where that other stop happened. And I was there that night, and I'm listening, and I'm like, this is absolutely nuts. I didn't know it was going to go viral, but it happened really quick. I was we were in Mississippi for my son a few weeks ago, and we're having brunch with some people we met there, and they asked me what I did, and I told them and where I was from and all that. And they said, "Oh, that's where that stop sign thing came from." And I was like, actually, it's exactly where it came from. I was working that night when it happened. And these people were enamored. They were like, that thing is crazy. So look it up when you get a chance. Stop sign, viral stop. And that guy's done several videos about it since then and made some money. So good for him. Anything else you guys want to talk about from the night that happened that intrigued you? Any questions about what we saw? What we can do better? What do you got?
Not about tonight, but there was actually, speaking of viral videos, there was one over here on I-4 that Volusia County got involved into. And reading through all the comments, everybody's like, how many unmarked cars does Volusia County have?
Oh. And
it was crazy because I see a lot of them. I spot them out. I mean, they might have a Toyota Camry that's 4 generations old with bubble tint on it. And you're like, that's an unmarked car. And it's hard to see, but that's a video that just kept on popping up in my feed and I would go through and read the comments. I was like, okay, let's see what's so hot about this. Everybody's talking about, that Sentras and the Camrys and Altimas and F-150s. And so I was just curious. So is Daytona in the same kind of realm thing of having that many unmarked cars? I know you guys have a few. Every department has to, but and that's extreme too.
Yeah. No,
And
we
they
don't
got
have.
some cool race cars too.
Yeah, we don't have we don't have nearly the fleet that Volusia County has because they're county funded and we're just city funded, so they have way more money.
Yep.
We do have a nice little pool of unmarked cars that you wouldn't. We got this one that we've been using for, I kid you not, 20 years. You would never guess that this vehicle is being driven by a police officer, and they use it all the time for all kind of surreptitious activities and it's for surveillance and stuff like that. So no, you're right. The sheriff's office, shout out to Sheriff Mike Chitwood and his crew over there. They have some. It's almost like unlimited resources. You know what I'm talking about, Livid. You work for a sheriff's office, right?
Yeah, we had 3 helicopters. We had like armored vehicles. You know, it just wasn't unusual to, you know, if you have 4 or 5 canines on at one time. It's luxury. A lot of people don't have. A lot of people don't have a helicopter in the air just because. You know what I mean? And we did, and I don't know. It's a beautiful thing when you see it all come together. But I had something I was going to tell you, Mike. I don't know if you noticed this tonight, but when they were in Clayton County, out in that hotel parking lot, you know, the guy that you're talking to him on both sides,
Yes.
about you got a wife and you're here cheating on her, whatever. Did you notice? I noticed something big, and I was like, hold on a second here. Did you notice that when the cops were on both sides, the cameraman was standing directly in front of the car after he started it? Did you notice that? My first thought is, you're getting run over, buddy.
Yeah.
I would have never. I'm just letting you know what I saw. Because you're looking at it from his perspective, and his perspective is the front of a car.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if because I went, holy smokes, man, this isn't good. Because wherever the camera is, that's where he is, right? You're looking at his perspective, and I'm thinking to myself, when this guy hits the gas, you're the first one, buddy. I don't know. I've never seen a cameraman do that on the show. I can't think of a time, but he was right in harm's way tonight.
Yeah, no question about it. He'll probably get a talking to about that as well. So, hey, listen, great. You know what? You're paying attention, glasses and all. You're paying attention to what's going on this show. I like it, man. All right, listen, we got to get up out of here, man. People are getting tired. I'm getting tired. Listen, we ain't spring chickens anymore, but guess what? We like to have fun. We like to engage with you guys. So again, follow us on all our social media platforms, Instagram, OPR recaps, of course, Twitter, Facebook, and guess what, guys? YouTube. So hit us up. Let us know what you think. If you like it, if you love it, if you hate it, let's do it, man. And we'll be back next weekend for possibly, dare I say, another post-show live. We'll see if Livid's up to it, if I'm awake. Eric, appreciate you, man.
Definitely appreciate you letting me join in.
Of course, man. Give the family the love from me and Jimmy and all the Daytona Beach Police Department, buddy.
Definitely will.
All right. So until then, you guys be safe out there in the chat. Hug your loved ones a little tighter. You know, we're living in a crazy time, a strange world. So handle your business, handle it with pride, and look to our maker for great things. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll see you next week. All right, boys and girls. Love y'all. See you later.